Photoshop. Project 1 Composite Movie Ad. We are in Stage 2, Managing Layers. Managing the layers in Photoshop is not any different from managing the layers in Illustrator. Very easy to do. Again, all we have to do is select the layer, double-click the layer name, and we can change the layer name. We're going to change layer 3 is going to be renamed Title, just like it was in the original file that we brought in. Layer 2 is Skyline and layer 1 is Storm. We are going to take next and group our tantamount and ratings into a new group layer, which is that little folder icon down there. So if you shift click and select both of those, you can group those, and we will double click that to change the name to logos. If you expand your logos, you will be able to take the tantamount logo, and we're going to grab that and move that so it will snap into the bottom right hand corner. If things don't snap to the lines, the live lines that we've put in, you need to go into View and make sure Snap is selected. If you wanted to snap to just a specific item, you could go in and deselect and just snap to whichever certain item you want, but with Snap we can snap to everything. So we have our Paramount in there. We next want to take our ratings and select that and move that down and snap it to the bottom on the left. Now we need to resize our restricted logo. It's awfully huge. We can go in and make sure that the auto select option isn't selected. It's not always a handy thing to have turned on. I kind of like to use it, although the book says, oh, shut it off. I like to use it because I can select things a little bit easier. Now this will be a little more difficult because it does have areas that are blank. So to select this, you really need to pick up and be actually selecting like the large R or the text, because if you accidentally click in a space, you're going to not pick that up, and it's going to be a bit of an issue, because now what I've actually selected would be the background, which I can't do anything with. So I want to make sure I have restricted selected, or go up and turn off auto select and simply select by picking up the layer that you want. Now our ratings, remember, is a smart object. And so we are going to be able to go into this, and we're going to use the free transform option from the edit dialog box. And by doing this, it gives us this type of situation where we can do our scaling. I am actually going to move my proxy from the center down to the bottom right hand corner, and I can resize now either by clicking, make sure that you have the constrain selected, and I can then just click and drag down. I can also go in and I can type in a number, but I want to make sure that I have that lower right hand corner selected so that I don't move anything around. Another thing I can do in here is I can do a scrub. So I can click on like width and I can scrub down, and because I have the constraints selected, that's going to hold me to the proper ratio. So let me pull that down. We're actually supposed to pull this to approximately 50%. So let me take that down, and I could, if I get tired of scrubbing, I can go in and actually type in 50 and hit enter. When I deselect this, and I'm going to say place because it actually is like replacing it. If I go back in and I reselect that item again, and I go back up, and this is just to show you we're not changing anything, but if I go back in and I do free transform again, you'll see that I maintain that 50% up in my control panel. It knows, because this is a smart object, it knows that this is 50% scaled. Now I'm going to deselect this or actually just commit this even though I didn't make a change so that I can get out of that. But the next thing that we're going to do is work with the storm layer. And that is not a smart object, so you're going to see a little bit of difference on how that's handled. I can at this point collapse my logos. Oh, I didn't want to turn them off. I just want to collapse them. There we go. And I want to hide everything except for the storm layer. So I can do an Alt click on the eye just like we did in Illustrator. And this will then give me my storm and select it. And I would like to kind of center this a little bit better on the screen. So let me take this and move it in just a little bit better and get some centering done. We want to go into the free transform again, but before we do, we are going to go to Edit Transform and we're going to flip this horizontally. Changes the direction of the smoke. Now this only changes that layer, okay? Everything else stays the same. We just changed that layer. And now Control T will take you into your free transform mode. Make sure that your proxy is back in the center. We want to maintain our aspect ratio. We don't want to push or pull anything and squeeze it or squish it. And we're going to again change this to approximately 90%. You can do either height or width and take this down to about 90% width. There we go, 90% for the aspect. You can again recenter this, and now because we've got everything going with the free transform, we got our pink horizon line and center line. Next we are going to commit that, and just so that you can see the difference, when I go back in, let me do a Control T again just to show you, we are at 90%, but the program has now gone, oh wait, you resized it, this is now the new 100%. So 100% is the new 90%. We made that change, we've committed that change. If we change this back, unlike the logos where it's a smart object and it maintains that, oh, this is 50%, we've already rearranged the pixels on this one. We're committed, okay? So if we decided we wanted to enlarge this again, it's not taking and packing all those pixels in and compressing them. It's deleted some. So if we said, oh no, wait, we want this full size, we would need to go back and re-import that layer to bring it back full size without degrading the pixels. So we can hit the escape button to get out of this without committing any changes. And next we're going to transform the background layer. So I'm going to turn on my background layer, turn off my storm layer, and select it. Now there is a limited amount of things that you can do with the background layer. I cannot delete something and have it transparent to the background. If I try to go in with my eraser, I better find out what I've got for a background, because let me use a bigger eraser here so you can actually see this, because oh hey, I erased it, it didn't make a hole. Okay, if I try to go in and I try to transform this, I can't. The background layer is locked. I can't move anything. If I say, oh, you know, I can rearrange this by going in and I can change my my image, I will rotate this and flip this. Let me do my flip horizontal on here. Oh, there, see, I changed it, but guess what? It changes everything. So let me turn my background layer on, and look what it did. I flipped everything because I flipped the entire canvas. Okay, so I need to undo these things. So let me undo once and let me step backwards, and we'll put the logos back on so we can see, yeah, everything's straightened out again. I have to turn my background into a floating layer. To do that, I need to unlock it, which is what I had to do to bring in that the storm I think, yeah, the storm layer before because it was locked. I couldn't move it. So I'm going to rename this now bricks because it's no longer a background layer. Now that this is a free floating layer, I am going to flip this, make sure bricks is selected, edit, transform, and I am going to flip this vertical. It changes the angle that we're looking through the bricks. Nobody knows which direction this photo was taken except for you when you open this up, and we're going to get rid of that center area. And you can double check that you only flip that because when you turn the logos back on, everything's in the right place. Save your file. Make sure you look through the section in your book on navigating through the history panel, and then we will continue in the next video with stage 3.